Welcome back to our little sustainable farm, Broadspear. In this week's episode, it's all about preserving the flavours of the summer for the colder months. So we're going to be pickling beautiful beetroot and also making really fun salt herb rubs that you can put on all of your meats and your fishes and in your eggs and everything throughout the colder months, but still have that beautiful flavour from your garden in the summer. How to make herb salt rubs. They're the easiest things in the world and they are so brilliant to have right beside your stove so you can rub them on your meats and your fish and your vegetables. I'm going to show you how to make two different ones. One that is really good for kind of the Sunday roast and also any roast vegetables, winter type vegetables like parsnips and carrots and everything with rosemary and sage. And then another one that's for your fish, which is fennel, or you could use dill and flat leaf parsley. And this is preserving the herbs and the flavour throughout the whole of the colder months. So what you want to do is get a jar. You can get small jars like this, or else you can get a really nice big one, depending on how much you think you're going to use it throughout the autumn. So what you want to do is do half sea salt and then half herbs. I'm going to start off with doing the one for meats and winter vegetables. Okay, measure it like that, that's halfway, and then pop it into your bowl. And then I'm going to do the same, but with the herbs. And this beautiful smell of rosemary will last for months and months because the salt will preserve it. And also the salt will get flavoured by the beautiful smell of the herbs. So chop up the rosemary nice and finely. The smell of rosemary is so sweet. And rosemary is so incredibly easy to grow. There's nothing much to do. You put it in the ground, it'll grow as long as it's got good soil. Into the bowl with the sea salt. And then next up is sage, one of my favourite herbs. Sage is particularly good with pork. If you've got pork loin, what you do is you get sprigs of this and you lie it on the top, you know, in underneath the ties that bind the pork loin together, and it will scent your pork so beautifully. And it's also really good in the apple sauce that you serve with the pork. So if you've got some apples, chop them up, put a bit of sugar in them and some sage leaves, it's so good. And I always save the woody parts of these herbs to use as trivets for roasting. So what I'll do is I'll have my roasting dish and then I'll pop all of the rosemary stalks and the sage stalks underneath my piece of meat. The heat goes around the oven like that, comes up through the roasting pan, and so all the wonderful flavours from these will kind of infuse the meat that's on top of it. Chop up really, really finely. Now, and the sage goes in on top of the rosemary and the sea salt. And then we're going to mix all of these together. Oh, that smell is so good. And then you pop them into your jar. Just want to make sure it's all packed in. And that is the rosemary and sage sea salt. This is really great to rub on different meats like pork and chicken and lamb and beef. And what you do is you just open it up, take a little bit of the salt and then rub it all over your meat, and you're flavouring it with all of the herbs as well, so you don't need to add any herbs to it. Now the next one I'm going to show you how to make is one that is brilliant for fish, and that is one with fennel and flat leaf parsley, but you could use dill as well. I've just got so much fennel growing at the moment. So we've got the pepperiness of the flat leaf parsley, and then you've got that wonderful light aniseedy flavour of the fennel. Here are your two beautiful scented sea salt with the flavours of the summer preserved throughout the autumn. I absolutely love preserving. There is nothing like having a flavour that you've had during the summer, throughout the autumn and the winter. And pickled beetroot is pretty up there in my top favourite preserves or pickles to make. It is such a cinch to make, and you will be so happy with yourself throughout the autumn when you've done, because beautiful in salads, it's gorgeous on its own, you can have it with fish, you can have it with chicken, it is absolutely beautiful. So after you've picked your beetroot or bought your beetroot, you might have it like this, or it might come whole like that, but it does need to be raw and uncooked, obviously. It comes with lovely beets like that when it grows. The beets are a bit bitter, but they're lovely chopped up through different salads so that they get mixed in with more peppery salads. It'll be really lovely with it. And when you're prepping them, you just take off the top part like this. Look at the colour of these beetroots, and they are so good for you. They are a really big superfood. So you get them like this, and then you pop them into a pot of cold water. Bring them up to the boil, and then let them simmer and cook, depending on the sizes, for anything between a half an hour and 40 minutes. And then you will know when they're cooked, because you'll be able to easily push back the skin of the beetroot. So this is a really good way of knowing when your beetroot is cooked. You just with your thumb just push back the skin, and if it pushes back really easily, then your beetroot is cooked and you can just take it off. And I'm going to show you how to peel the beetroot. A lot of people put on plastic gloves when they're doing it, but really you can just scrub off, you know, the beetroot stain afterwards, or use lemon to take off the stain. I do not like plastic, so I'm not going to be using plastic gloves. You just gently peel it back like this. You really just want to get the top layer of the skin. So you're just gently pushing the skin off. I mean, it's such a cinch. I think I'm very brave doing pickled beetroot with a white t-shirt on. It will be a miracle if I don't get the beetroot on my t-shirt. And I'm just going to take off the root at the top here. And at the other side, like that. We'll half it first. And then use a bigger knife probably to thinly slice. I prefer my pickled beetroot in slices, but you can do wedges as well if you want to. Now I've got some more that I've already sliced over here. And then what you want to do is wipe your hands and get a sterilised big jar. I've got a huge Kilner jar here. There are a couple of ways to sterilise your jar. You can clean it and then pop it into an oven at about 120 degrees Celsius for about an hour, and that will sterilise it. In goes the beetroot. Such a fantastic present as well to give to somebody. And can you think how fabulous this is going to look in your kitchen, up on the shelf? So that's done, and now we need to make the pickle. Put a saucepan over a medium to high heat. So you want water, white wine vinegar, cane sugar, lovely fresh thyme, black peppercorns, mustard seeds, and lastly, sea salt. And then you want to just stir it until the sugar is completely dissolved. That's it, sugar is dissolved, and I'm going to pour this back into my measuring jug. In it goes, and the magic is beginning. And we're pickling. Give it a moment when you've popped it in for all of the liquid to make its way down. Okay, now the rest of this lovely thyme, I'm going to push into it. And you want to fill the vegetables so that the pickling juice is completely covering it. Allow that to cool. You don't want to close it right now. It needs to cool completely. And then it'll end up looking like this. You'll see that a lot of the beetroot already is absorbing that pickle, so the liquid comes down a little bit on it. And then you can store it up on your shelf and just grab it whenever you want it, add it into a beautiful egg salad, serve it with beautiful salmon, serve it with grilled chicken. It is the gift that keeps giving. So go get pickled. Next week, I'm going to be showing you all you need to know to start your own compost heap. And then I'm also going to show you how to make the most delicious gazpacho, which is a chilled tomato soup. I'll see you then.